I'm Kyla and welcome back to the Infinite Library. And today I'm going to be going over all of the books, hopefully, that I'll be reading in February. So to start things off, we're going to go over some of the buddy reads I have planned. So one of these is a continuation. I will still be reading It by Stephen King. I'm reading this with two friends of mine and we're not super far in at the moment. We've only got to chapter 3, I think, but I'm really enjoying it so far. I love the movies, so this is kind of a book that I know the story of very well, so I'm pretty happy to be taking my time reading this. I don't think we're going to finish this in February because it is a chunker. It is over 1,000 pages, I think. Yeah, well over 1,000 pages, so it's probably going to take us a couple of months to get through, but I will be continuing this in February. Then I have two other books that one of them will likely have fallen off my TBR from January, to be honest. I haven't been reading as much as I wanted to in January, and honestly, Priory of the Orange Tree took up a lot of my time. So I'm filming this towards the end of January and I've not gotten to this yet, and I don't know if I'm going to get to it. So it might be that in February I'm going to get to Emily Wilde's Map of the Otherlands then instead, which is fine. I think it is going to be quite a quick read, but I do think it's probably going to fall off my January TBR. So I will likely get to it in February instead. It's ironic because I got this copy so early and I've just not had time to get to it, even though I'm itching to get to it, but I will hopefully finally get to this in February. And then finally, I'm also going to be joining Literary Diversion's Fits Along, which is basically reading through all of the Robin Hobb Realm of the Elderlings books. She's starting this beginning in January, I believe. Each book is going to be 2 months for each book because they're quite chunky, but this works really well for me because I often have big TBRs and it means I can kind of be working away on this and not have to finish it in a month. I've also really been wanting to get to this series. I have read the first 2 books. This is the Farseer trilogy is the first book, and this first one is Assassin's Apprentice. It isn't massively long, to be honest. It's just under 500 pages, so I have read this one before. This will be a reread. But I read the first 2 books in this series, and I started the third one, and I just stalled on it. I found it really depressing, and I just was not in the headspace for that at the time. So I think this is going to be a really good way for me to finally get back to the series, to finish the trilogy, and then to just carry on and read more because I really did like these books. I also started the Mad Ship series, so I read the first book in that, but I read it so long ago that I need to reread it anyway, and honestly the same with this. If I'm going to finish that third book, I need to reread it from the beginning. So I'm going to be picking this up in February. We'll hopefully get through it. I might start this actually in January, I think, because I'm going away visit family over a weekend, which means there'll be a lot of traveling and downtime. So I'll probably take this with me. So I may actually end up starting this in January, but I'll probably will end up finishing it in February. Link down below, by the way, to the announcement video for Literary Diversion's Fits Along, in case that's something that you're interested in taking part in. I'll then have my book club book, which at the moment I haven't actually run the book club for this month, so we usually tend to vote at the end of a book club as to what books we're going to be reading for the following month. I tend to pick 3 nominations for people to vote on just because it's easier that way. Often there'll be books that I've almost won in previous months, and then I'll put some new ones in as well. So of that for next month, I've been a little bit sneaky, and 2 of them are books that I've already read just because that makes it a bit easier for my TBR, but they're also ones I've almost won so many times. So one of those books, which I'll probably just skim read this one if it ends up getting picked, but that is The Atlas 6 by Olivia Blake. I read this at the start of last year, I think, and the finale book, I assume it's the finale anyway. I feel like this is just going to be a 3-book series. But the third book, The Atlas Complex, just came out. I'm not going to get to that just yet, I don't think. Basically, me and my friend Jules Gem Hearts have buddy read the first two of these, and we're both not really feeling the third book just yet, so I think we're going to push it back and read the third book later in the year, but this is one that I do think my book club will really enjoy. So this might be one of the ones that I'll kind of skim reread. And the other book that I will actually reread if it gets picked is Martha Wells' first book in the Murderbot series, which is All Systems Red. I read that last year, but I actually have an Audible, and it's very short, so I'm quite happy to reread that. So it's either going to be these two, or it's going to be... I also did pick up Frances White's Voyage of the Damned book, which released just the other day. I picked up the gorgeous Waterstones version, which has these really nice sprayed edges. It's also really nice on the inside. I didn't even realise, but not only is the cover just gorgeous anyway, but it's like got this really nice on the inside as well, which I really like, as well as these sprayed edges, and it's just like really nicely unfoiled. It is honestly one of the prettiest covers I've seen in ages, but I am really hyped to get to this. For anyone that doesn't know, this is basically described as a gay murder mystery set on a boat, and it just sounds really fun. It's got a whole cast of characters. I actually know the author a little bit. We kind of like move in the same circles in cosplay. So I've been aware of this for quite a while, and I just want to support her because, you know, this is her debut book release and it's very exciting, and it also sounds amazing. So can't really complain about that, basically. So I am hoping to get to this in this month as well, just because I really want to read it. So in addition, I also have an ARC to read. It's an e-ARC, and I didn't actually expect to get accepted for this. I just started using NetGalley, and I don't think it's something I'll use very often because I have so much on my physical TBR, but occasionally there's some new releases that I'm really interested in, and I got accepted for this one, and it's The Poisons We Drink by Bethany Baptiste. It's not out until March the 5th, so I basically have to read it in February anyway. But I thought it was really interesting. Let me try and find premise of it so I can tell you a little bit about it. I actually only found out about this book via the whole Kate Corin scandal, because I believe this is one of the books that was affected by that, so I really want to support it. It's also an LGBT fantasy, which is always what I'm down for, basically, but this one particularly, because I know it's been hit quite bad by the Kate Corin scandal, I really want to kind of help give some, like, bring some positivity around that. So I'm just going to go grab my laptop so I can actually read you the premise of it, because it sounds really exciting. So it is actually a YA fantasy, also an urban fantasy, I believe, not an epic fantasy, but about witches. Here is the description for it. In a country divided between humans and witches, Venus Stoneheart hustles as a brewer, making illegal love potions to support her family. Love potions is a dangerous business. Brewing has painful, debilitating side effects, and getting caught means death or a prison sentence. But what Venus is most afraid of is the dark, sentient magic within her. Then an enemy's iron bullet kills her mother. Venus's life implodes. Keeping her reckless little sister Janice safe is now her responsibility. When the powerful Grand Witcher, the ruthless head of her coven, offers Venus the chance to punish her mother's killer, she has to pay a steep price for revenge. The cost? Brew poisonous potions to enslave DC's most influential politicians. As Venus crawls deeper into the corrupt underbelly of her city, the line between magic and power blurs, and it's hard to tell who to trust, herself included. So yeah, it sounds really interesting. It doesn't sound like there's actually going to be a romance in this, which I'm okay with, quite honestly, but I'm very down for like potion brewing witches as a book theme. So yeah, I'm very excited to be getting to that. Then finally, I'm not going to go too much into this because I haven't got like a set TBR for it yet, but I'm going to be doing a little vlog throughout February, and I'm not going to tell you all the books I'm going to be reading for that because I haven't planned them yet. So this is a stack of books I've put aside for this vlog. I am certainly not going to be reading all of these, but my plan is that I'm going to be reading a couple of these. I don't know which ones they're going to be yet. I'm also still waiting for one more to come from the library, which is a new release. You may be able to tell what this is just from the sprayed edges here if you're familiar with certain book box subscriptions, and you might be able to guess what this is. But because it's a vlog, I'm not going to tell you what the TBR is yet. I don't know exactly what the TBR is going to be yet, but I'm basically going to try a couple of these, and I will pick some of them to read fully, and I will go over them in the vlog. But I can tell you about 2 of the books that I will definitely be reading from this TBR, which may give away the theme of the vlog. But those 2 books are Cursed. It's an anthology, actually, of a bunch of different authors. A lot of authors I know about. So we've got Neil Gaiman, Christina Henry. I believe this is actually edited by the same person that did the recent Dark Academia anthology, These Hallowed Halls, which is Marie O'Regan. But these are basically all dark takes on fairy tales, and there's a lot of different authors. We've also got Catriona Ward, Christopher Golden, Alison Littlewood, and a whole bunch of authors I don't know of. But I just found out about this by chance, and it sounded really interesting, so I thought I'd pick it up. And I do like reading an anthology, and I thought this would be good to read alongside some of the other books that I'm reading, because I can take my time with it. And then the other book I'm definitely going to be getting to is Ramesa, a fairy tale by Radia Hafisa. And this is an Indian take on a whole bunch of different fairy tales. I actually found this by pure chance in the clearance section in Waterstones, and I just thought it was so interesting. It actually does, I think, 3 different fairy tales, sets them within an Indian culture. So for example, like this one on the front is clearly based off Rapunzel, but it's saying, Ramesa, let down your hijab. It is a middle grade, I believe, but it sounds really interesting. It's got like a couple of pictures here and there, but I think it'll be a quick, easy read. But the 3 stories in it is Ramesa, which is based off, I'm about to say Tangled then, but Rapunzel. We have Cinderella, which is based off Cinderella, obviously. And then we have Sleeping Sarah, which I guess is Sleeping Beauty. So I thought that was really interesting. And it is these 2 books, I guess, that kind of spurred me on for what I'm going to be doing for this vlog. So you might be able to guess what that is just from these 2 books, but so feel free to put that in the comments if you think, but you will find out in a future video. And then the final book I need to pick for my TBR is from my TBR jar. So I am hoping I'm not going to get a massive book, because I've already got quite a few books I want to get to, and I really want to focus on this like little vlog I'm doing. So giving it a good shake, and let me pick what I'm going to get. I'm really hoping it'll be like Piranesi or something. Okay, this one I've got. Let's see. Oh, okay. Dark Visions. Let me get it. Okay, so this isn't small, but I think this is going to be a quick read. This is actually 3 books in one, so if I don't actually read more on the first book, I'm happy. I will call that completed as my like TBR from this TBR jar basically. But I was literally just talking about this the other day, so that's so funny that it has shown up on my TBR jar. This is actually a series. It's a 3-book series by LJ Smith, who is the writer of The Vampire Diaries, The Secret Circle, the Night World series, and I've read a lot of those series and I really liked them back in the day. I need to reread them, to be honest, because I feel like they don't hold up. But this is another series of hers that I've never read. I know nothing about it. In fact, let's read the premise together. So it says, Caitlin Fairchild has always felt like an outsider. Her haunting eyes and prophetic drawings have earned her reputation as a witch. But Kate's not a witch, she's psychic. Tired of being shunned, Kate accepts an invitation to attend the Zeitz Institute, where she can study other psychic teens and have a fresh start. As Caitlin learns to hone her abilities with 4 other gifted students, she starts to discover the intensity of her power and the joy of having true friends. But those friendships quickly become complicated when Kate finds herself torn between 2 irresistible guys. Rob is a healer, kind and gentle. He's surrounded by good energy, while Gabriel is aggressive and mysterious, a telepath concealing his true nature. Together, Rob and Gabriel's opposing forces start to threaten the group's stability, and when an experiment traps the 5 teens in a psychic link, a link that threatens their sanity and their lives, Caitlin must decide who to trust and who to love. So yeah, this is just like a YA, teeny kind of supernatural romance, I guess. And you know what? I'm in the mood for this. I've been really wanting to read L.J. Smith recently, so this is actually the most perfect thing that could come out of this TBR jar this month. So very happy with this. I don't know if it's going to be good or not, quite honestly, but it is something I'm in the mood for, and yeah, TBR jar did not screw me over this month, so I'm very happy. Okay, so here is a stack for this month. Quite a big stack, but obviously it is here and I'm not going to get through all of that, and I'm probably only going to read the first book in the Dark Visions trilogy unless I'm like super into it. Plus whatever I end up reading for the vlog. But it's a good stack and I'm very excited for what I'm going to be reading in February. So that is it for this TBR video. Feel free to put down in the comments below if there's any of these books here that you're sort of interested in yourself, that you think I should definitely get to this month, or just whatever you're reading in February. So until next time, stay safe, stay cozy, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!